we have two visionaries with us today. The third one of them could not join us, who have reimagined the way a credit card business has been done so far, I think for the last 25-30 plus years in India. It's my extreme pleasure to involve Vibhav Hathi in a discussion of two Sinhas. Neeraj Sinha meets Anurag Sinha. Hi Vibhav, hi Anurag.
Hi
Anurag. So Anurag, I want to know you better. So schooling, college.
So I was born, brought up in, though I belong to Ranchi, as you just said, from Jharkhand. Those days it was Bihar when I was born.
JNK now.
But I was brought up in UP. My dad used to be in, transferable job in a government department. So I used to get transferred to different places.
Which one?
He used to be part of UP State Sugar Corporation. So he used to work for a sugar factory. So we lived in places like Meerut, Bulandshahr, Lucknow, Gorakhpur,
all target market.
Yeah, probably that's why the learning comes from those markets. And then, did my engineering I passed out JEE in 1995, went to IIT BHU, did my engineering, joined HCL Tech as my first job, software engineer. Didn't quite understand the impact which tech can do, and I didn't like services business, so I actually decided to go for MBA, went to IIM Bangalore and joined ICICI as a management trainee. And both of us come from IIM background. We joined as management trainee. And
same batch?
Same batch.
Same batch.
In
and
fact,
the batch which got the SIM cards in a bundle, and that's why the numbers are sequentially one after another.
Yeah, 6, 7. our phone numbers are same with same phone number for last 20 years. So what happened that we were the first batch of management trainee who joined in consumer or other retail banking, as it is called. Naturally, we revolted because we have studied corporate finance in IIM, treasury, corporate banking, structured finance. And then came Mr. Kamath, who told that the future of Indian banking is retail. You guys are getting the seat on the front seat. And ICICI balance sheet will switch from corporate to retail, 80% to corporate to 80% retail. We still didn't believe him. So we were given a choice. You stay here for 2 years. If you don't like, you can go back to corporate banking. And we never looked back. We got a chance to build, learn a lot of things during that our retail journey at ICICI. Somewhere around 14-15, I was watching the fintech revolution coming in. Payments was the first area where a lot of fintechs got formed. And since I was part of the payments team, I was very close to it. So one thing was very clear, that consumer interfaces will probably be more driven by the fintechs. You know what? The big trend we saw, 2000 to 2010, a lot of tech got bought by banks to upgrade their systems. But post 2010, the game shifted from there to consumer interfaces, which is where it's an iterative process. You can't predict what you need next year. You got to build with customers.
Interesting.
And that's how I said, okay, fine. If you want to be in this, then you have to get out of the bank. So I left the bank and co-founded a company called Walnut. There, lots of learning. We scaled up quite fast, 10 million users in 2.5 years. Built bunch of payments and lending products. Got acquired. And then we formed, after a gap of almost 8-9 months, we started this new company.
How about you?
So, school, college, everything in Baroda. And I come from a family of academicians, teachers. So my dad was my prof in engineering. My mom was a prof. My grandfather, doctor.
So doctor and engineer.
Doctor and engineer. Dad was an engineer, and my
dad was the prof in
engineering college, MSc Baroda.
I hope you scored very well.
Yes. I mean, I had to attend classes because
he had a tough choice post 12 whether he should become a doctor or engineer. You should ask him how did he decide engineering.
So I had to, so the way admissions got, you got admissions. You went to a room and to a hallway, and on left side there is where you go and put your name for medical admissions, and right side is engineering. And since mom and dad were profs, the people sitting on the desk were people whom I had gone to their houses for Diwali for 20 years. And the medical guy saying, why don't you go here? The engineering guy saying, why don't you come here? And then I chose engineering. And out of dad, mom, sister, brother-in-law, grandfather, all of them have been teachers, and I decided I'll go and do something else. So after engineering, did something chemical engineering in Gujarat. You had to go to Reliance Refinery, so went to Reliance Refinery for about 6 months, 8 months. Then the MBA bug bit me, so I am Cal, and then ICICI Bank. And ICICI Bank, slightly different view. all the 18 years was pure entrepreneurship. So we've not done a project which was a standard project, whether it be doing, setting up the portfolio of credit cards in 2004-5 or doing FASTag. I mean, FASTag in 2010-11.
Yes.
We went to plaza by plaza and acquired and integrated each one of these.
Yes.
So it was purely, at ICICI Bank giving the opportunity to go and set up one business after the other and the other. And I think all of that learning finally came to a stage saying, why don't I go and do something outside? And did a stint in transit in a startup for about a year. And then when Anurag was starting up this business, came here.
One other thing we said, I think consumer credit is pretty much well known. It's a big problem to solve, especially young Indians having lots of aspirations, and affordability is yet to come in there. So there is a gap between the two. And so this is pretty obvious. Which product vehicle we start to actually bridge the gap? There are a couple of products on loans, credit lines. Frankly speaking, on one side, it's not a need-based product. Actually, nobody gets up in the morning and say, I want to apply for a credit card. But the contra is also true. Anybody can take a credit card because it is not a need-based product. It's a classic FMCG product from banking. What we loved about it, we want to make our, what we call true north around customer experience and using tech. And of course, rest everything is just an execution, which is about using data. How do you partner with the banks, because the kind of segment you want to go after, those are more of an execution. You want to add something?
I think the third part is mobile. I think in the last few years, the consumer adoption of mobile has been huge. And now look at it. You want to, order food, you do it through a Swiggy or a Zomato. You want to go somewhere, you do an, Ola and Uber. So why should financial products be different? Why should someone have to call up a call center? So, in fact that, and you could deliver a 1:1 personalized interaction to the consumer through a mobile interface. I think that was the next trigger point for us.
So Vibhav, wanted to know from you that the cusp of this revolution of personal loans broke out of the shackles of banks a long time back, and NBFCs is a phenomena that probably we don't even look back and see when the first NBFC started and people started going to NBFCs to regular. On the cusp of, probably you are the progenitor or the harbinger of democratizing credit cards. Is that a right statement to say?
Yeah, I mean, democratizing credit is one of the core visions that we have. And as I said, everybody should have a credit card. Now, different segments have different ways of getting the credit card, but why should credit card be restricted to only the top 6 cities to an income about 20 lakh rupees?
For the last 25 years.
For 25 years. So, we were speaking some time ago that today over 1 million people in India apply for a card every month but don't get it. And, they could be either a 24-year-old young jobber in Bombay to an SME guy in, Chandigarh to, a housewife who would be having her own freelance business. So, all of these people do payments, spend, and they have place in their inclusion, in the financial inclusion. Why should they not have a credit card? The secured card that we have actually is truly democratizing credit by taking this to the masses. And we have so many stories of consumers in our secured card who are coming back and saying, I never thought I could get a credit card, so I didn't apply. But putting an FD is just getting me the product that I want, and they are loving it. People spend it in places which a normal person would, and even more.
Because credit card is not a need-based product, many people don't even apply because they have a fear of rejection.
Yes.
They might actually have gone through. And the second thing is, we still have 30 to 40% cards being sold through physical channels. Some people just don't want to share their documentation with somebody on the road, by the way, which contributes 30 to 40% of the total card sales in India. And the second thing is, Indian loves FDs. Almost everyone, all of us have FDs, and almost 50 to 55% FDs get auto-renewed, by the way.
Yes.
They're there.
Yes.
They're there. You just there, you open it for your kids, you open it for your marriage, you just open it. Secured card has been around for many years.
Yes.
The problem is you have so much stigma attached to it. You open a 100 rupees FD, we get a line of 85%. First of all, nobody sells it because at the time of selling, you don't know whether the guy will actually get rejected or not, because only rejected customer should actually opt for it.
Yes.
We don't believe in that. You see, it's your choice. If you want to opt for it, the second thing is we trust the customer on day one rather than he trusting us. We say, fine, you take $100, we give you a top-up line on top of it. So that we already have created a 10% unsecured, which is more of a commitment from our side.
Yeah.
And then the feature takes over. Once consumer is attached with the product. In fact, one of the experiment which actually wasn't our idea, which came, from the team, it's from SBM team itself. What we saw, if we can reduce the entry barrier and allow people put more money later on when they're comfortable, we just been almost 30 days and it's a superb experiment for us. Yeah. We're now bringing it even down. Let more people come and discover the product. If they love it, let them just put it.
You're the only company which is getting both the assets and liability side together. If you think about it, you're the one who's giving people the best of choice in FD and the best of monetizing of FD through a card, right? And I don't think many of the other established institutions give you the option of monetizing your FD. So tell me about one score and one card. Why this name?
One was one of the earlier name which came about and we weren't fully convinced. So we wrote it, and we were a team of around 6-7 people then. So there was initially confusion, should we have both the products same brand name or not? And then somebody said, no, you cannot have two brand names. It becomes confusing. So we said, okay, fine. But we wrote one name, and every day all of us will write like some other name.
Interesting.
But for almost 30 days, we couldn't come up with a better name than one. So we were forced to get one. By the way, one was coined by my wife. And the whole idea was,
name.
The whole insight came around is that, we have multiple co-brands, a lot of banks. And, this was a 90s thinking.
This is the one card you need to have.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll explain this better, because in 90s, when banks were building up propositions for customers, the only way to uniquely identify you was a 16-digit card number.
Yes.
So the proposition was linked to that. So you have a travel card, you have an airline card, you have a dining card. Now in today's world, you still need 16-digit number because that's used for payments. But probably a 10-digit mobile number is a better number to identify you personally because that's more personal to you.
Yeah.
So we said if we are building an app-first business, why not link all the proposition to the app and just have a plastic as a way to access that line. And of course, some of the examples which team came about is that when you go to Google, all of us search for phones, probably all of us will get different ads. But Google.com is same for all three of us. Digital does not differentiate that. It personalizes after that interface. It doesn't personalize right on your face.
Yeah.
It's a single brand. You go to Airbnb, you can book a $100 room. You can also, by the way, $5,000 worth room. But Airbnb is Airbnb, and everybody get to see their own. So I think that was one of the reasons why we say fine. You get a single card. That's why we don't have variants, by the way. You have a single card. Every personalization, rewards, offers are inside the app. We want to, and this resonated well because it reduces the cognitive load for a customer to choose a product.
Tell me, what inspires you? It's the touching a billion or execution excellence?
I think the number of customers who touch us. Scale is something is very, so one of the things, in fact, when we were writing our own thesis, when we were coming together, that, what drives us? And, we were very clear that we don't want to build a niche company. One thing was very common across all of our DNA is that we want to build something which is used by millions of people. Probably at some day billions of people, but right now our vision is millions. So scale is something very common, so which is what drives us every day. That okay, but we are building something which is used by like millions of people. I'm like today, if I talk about our OneScore business, we have close to 1.5 million people using every month. Every day, a product like Credit Score, which doesn't change every day by the way, which is to help people understand the credit. We have almost 110,000 people using every day. And that's what drives us.
Regarding secured card, we started giving metal cards to secured consumers recently. People have come back and said, I did not know I could get a card, but you've kind of given me something which maybe an elite customer gets in a large bank.
I have another interesting one to add. So, in our onboarding, we match customers' photo with the, KYC, especially the Aadhaar one. So, we never had a problem. But what we observed in ONECARD Secured, the matching was not happening for some of the customers. In fact, one customer happened to come to our office. He figured out, Googled it and said, why are you not giving me card when I have opened the FD? And then we looked up this profile. Suddenly we saw his photo was a kid photo. I said, how is it possible? Because this customer was 20-year-old. When the Aadhaar was taken, he was like 12, 13-year-old. And actually his photo has changed. Then we realized, wow, it's such young people applying, and we have to actually solve our algorithms to even adjust for these young people. So one of the customers, he got a ONECARD, metal card. He was so happy, and he actually had a baby just 2 days before. He actually posted a picture of the, like I've got two things arrived at the same time. We send them an entire hamper of, Johnson & Johnson as a gift. Another one was good where they actually, his cat liked our card a lot. So actually has posted picture on Twitter along with the cat. So we actually called them, spoke to the customers, got the name, and we sent them a good gift for the cat actually.
Now coming back, in this, tell me about what is the most satisfying moment? Is it the next round raise or is it the next customer gain? What is the most satisfying moment?
For me, I think the first transaction. So we spent about 8 to 10 months building the entire system, getting it certified from Visa, completing everything. And then one fine day, we said, okay, we're ready for our first transaction. So, we first bought a Ganesh Murti online, but then we went to a coffee shop and one of us is buying the coffee, swiping the card, and Rupesh is on his laptop seeing, oh, is the authorization coming? Oh, it happened. I think that's a thrill, because while in ICICI Bank, our earlier lives, you've done so many huge volumes. The first transaction of your own product was a thrill by itself.
So in the journey we have had, right, and the journey that we have just about started, what is the most memorable thing? And you can say good things about me.
Yeah, so, we've worked with multiple banks. The fact that you can come in and brainstorm ideas and decide what makes sense for the consumer and also for the business, and then look at that happening in a very structured manner is something which is very good here. Yeah. And the fact that you go back and it's not that I will do this because of the short-term impact. Let's do it in a structured manner. Let's take baby steps. So we did, top up, then we did limit, then we did metal. So we're doing so many steps which are just increasing the appeal to the consumer.
Move to a quick fire round, so that you don't think so much. What kind of a boss are you?
Oh,
quick.
I ask more questions than I answer.
How many hours do you work in a day?
About 10, 12.
What quality would you look for when you're hiring
Passion. No, everything else is secondary to us. Everything else. If you're not passionate. Sorry.
Since you didn't answer the boss question, name someone who has really inspired you in life.
Okay. Inspiration, I would say, I would take Mr. Kamath. Really, the way early he will give delegation and just forget. I've never had a meeting where he will talk to me what we will do in next 6 months. He'll always ask us what we will do after 2 years. And that's somebody I really get. In fact, many times he will know more than about our business than I would know, even though he was at a senior level. So definitely Mr. Kamath. 2
people if you have to invite for dinner.
So Tendulkar, for a simple reason that every time he stepped, Tendulkar and John F. Kennedy.
Wow. Yes, who are you calling for dinner?
So again, if I'm allowed to go back, I would like to invite Sham Manaksha. I'm a big fan of military history of India. I just love to.
Wow.
I think super audacious to think the way he executed the plan, standing up to everyone. That's one. Second, of course, closer to home, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. I have watched that movie.
That should have been a natural.
I have watched that movie.
You can't change.
I have watched that movie.
There are only 2 seats. Tendulkar is sitting there.
No, I think Tendulkar is great. We all love him.
But
he's like a god. But I think I would still like to have dinner with
2 Sinhas and Dhoni. One book or movie you would recommend?
There's a book called Secret, which just tells you to imagine before it materializes. And movie is Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, because that's where friendship and living
Your
in the
favorite
moment.
movie?
Dhoni. I have watched it 50 times. My daughter also have watched with me. That's one, definitely for sure.
What do you do in your free time?
Spending time with my daughters.
Whatever time we get, like to spend time with family.
Thankfully, Pune gives you slightly more time than Bombay.
It's a little philosophical.
It's the ability to create something which outlives you. And again, for me, before ONECARD is FASTag. The fact that when you come from Pune to Bombay, you can see that this is
Every
something
time
which
does
is
it
there.
make you proud?
Yes, totally.
Huh? And Anurag, same for you, right? Number of businesses you have touched, right? From debit card to commercial card to, name it and you were there.
I took calls on people. People just gave me opportunity. I just took it. I didn't question much about that. Whatever was given, we just built it. I think so. That's my secret of success, I guess. So getting good people calls, and you go wrong, you just change it. That's what.
So this question is one of the most commonly asked questions, right? When you walk into the interview, the first question is tell me something about yourself. So this question also is one of the most commonly asked questions, right? What's your secret of success? You will be surprised by the number of different answers I get, right? So I think I really loved both the answers, and I take away more from this meeting and interaction than probably you will understand. And thank you for that. And you win coffee. There's no coffee hamper, but you can carry some of the snacks we have on the table.
Thank you. Lovely having this interaction.
Lovely, having interaction, meeting you guys. And of course, we love working with SBM for the sheer, thinking and innovation you guys are planning to, help all fintechs to build, co-create experiences for the customer.